not looking for the spotlight. Jimin reveals why Jungkook always looks calm. In the midst of a global spotlight that never goes out, BTS's Jungkook often steals attention not because of sensation, but because of his attitude that always looks calm. When other idols react quickly to criticism, rumors, or public pressure, Jungkook often chooses to keep quiet, smile lightly, and continue his work as if nothing had happened. This attitude provokes a variety of interpretations. Some call it cold, others think it's enjoying the spotlight. But Jimin, his best friend and groupmate, finally spoke up and revealed the reason behind Jungkook's calmness, which has been often misunderstood. In a moment of frank and emotional conversation, Jimin explained that Jungkook's calmness is not a form of imagery or attention-seeking. Quite the contrary. It is the survival mechanism of a young child who grows too fast under the spotlights of the world. According to Jimin, Jungkook has learned from a very young age that not everything needs to be explained, and not all accusations are worth replying to. While many see that calmness as aloofness, Jimin sees it as a form of maturity born from a long experience of dealing with pressure. Jungkook debuted when he was still in his teens. He grew up in a harsh industry, with tight schedules, impeccable demands, and ever-increasing public expectations. Jimin revealed that behind Jungkook's relaxed smile, there was a huge burden that he kept to himself. When people think Jungkook is calm because he doesn't care, in reality he cares too much. He just prefers to process everything in silence so as not to hurt others or make things worse. Jimin tells that Jungkook is the type of person who always thinks long before acting. He does not like to react impulsively, especially when it comes to public opinion. According to Jimin, Jungkook often said that a moment's emotion can destroy something that was built for years. Therefore, he prefers to take a breath, calm down, and focus on what he can control, namely his own work and attitude. That Jimin's explanation seemed to open a new veil about Jungkook's personality. During this time, the public was used to seeing her as a cheerful golden magne, full of energy on stage, yet calm and reserved outside the spotlight. This contrast often leads to misunderstandings. But for Jimin and the other BTS members, Jungkook's calmness is a form of responsibility. He realized that his every move could have a wide impact, not only on him, but also on the group, family, and fans who love him. Jimin also mentioned that Jungkook never felt the need to prove himself through words. For him, the result of work is the best answer. When faced with rumors or criticism, Jungkook is even more immersed in training, music, and the creative process. He believes that time will explain everything. This attitude is what makes him look always stable, even when the situation feels hot. Furthermore, Jimin revealed that Jungkook is often a good listener. Behind his composure, he absorbed things, thought through every input, and learned from mistakes without having to make them public. According to Jimin, Jungkook doesn't want sympathy, he just wants to keep growing. This also makes him reluctant to look for additional highlights outside the work. For him, the spotlight is a consequence, not an end. Jimin's statement received a warm response from the army. Many fans felt that the explanation finally represented their feelings so far. They see Jungkook as a strong figure in silence, not for not being hurt, but for choosing not to show the wound to the world. When Jimin said that Jungkook often harbored his own fatigue, many fans admitted that they were touched and respected him even more. Jungkook's calmness is also referred to by Jimin as a form of gratitude. Jungkook knows very well where he comes from and how much support he has received. Therefore, he does not feel the need to be defensive or arrogant. He chose to be humble, focused, and maintain his emotional balance. In Jimin's eyes, this is what keeps Jungkook grounded despite being at the peak of world popularity. Interestingly, Jimin confirms that Jungkook is actually very emotional. It's just that he channels it in a different way. Music became his escape and the language of his feelings. When Jungkook looks calm in front of the camera, oftentimes he has shed all his anxiety in the rehearsal room or recording studio. This is the reason why his works feel so honest and emotional, because that's where he really speaks to the end of his explanation. Jimin hoped that the public could better understand that everyone has their own way of dealing with pressure. Not all calm means indifference. and not all silence means consent. In Jungkook's case, calmness is a form of courage to remain yourself in the midst of a world that constantly demands a reaction. Through Jimin's confession, one thing became increasingly clear. Jungkook is not a figure who seeks the spotlight on purpose. He's just an artist who wants to work quietly, loves what he does, and takes responsibility for his position. As the world continues to be noisy, Jungkook chooses to be quiet. And it is precisely from that calm that many people end up learning about maturity, sincerity, and strength that do not always have to be shown out loud. Continuing the narrative, Jimin also emphasized that Jungkook's calmness was not something that came out of nowhere, but the result of a long process full of inner struggle. There were times when Jungkook felt confused by expectations that were too great, especially since he grew up before the public from a very young age. But instead of rebelling or seeking validation, Jungkook learned to manage his own emotions. Jimin recalled how Jungkook often chose to be alone for a moment, not to get away, but to rearrange his mind so that he could return with a better version of himself. According to Jimin, Jungkook has always felt that calmness is a form of moral responsibility. He is aware that millions of eyes are watching him, including young people who make him a role model. Jungkook didn't want to show exaggerated reactions that could be misinterpreted or imitated without context. Therefore, he prefers to set an example through attitude. When showered with compliments, it does not dissolve. When criticized, it does not explode. For Jungkook, maintaining that balance is far more important than winning debates in the public sphere. Jimin also revealed another side that is rarely known. Behind Jungkook's calmness in front of the camera, he is a very sensitive figure to the surrounding atmosphere. He can feel the emotional changes of others, especially the members of BTS. Therefore, Jungkook often restrains his own feelings so as not to burden those around him. This attitude, according to Jimin, is often mistaken for coldness or indifference, but quite the opposite. Jungkook was too concerned to choose silence that on many occasions, Jimin sees Jungkook as the emotional anchor of the group. When the situation feels heavy, Jungkook comes with a calm, stable attitude. He doesn't talk much, but his presence gives a sense of security. Jimin said that sometimes one look or a small smile of Jungkook is enough to bring the atmosphere back to normal. That calmness is contagious and, unwittingly, a great strength for BTS as a team. The public response to Jimin's explanation further clarified Jungkook's position in the eyes of fans. Many ARMY felt that Jungkook's calmness was a reflection of a maturity rarely possessed in the entertainment industry. At a time when the entertainment world often demands drama and overreaction,